Hello and welcome to Ardagh Rugby's CDM induction. The induction takes around about 30 to 35 minutes, so get yourself comfortable first off. And if you do have any questions, it's probably worth jotting them down, and whoever sees you at the end of this induction video will be able to answer those for you. Similarly, any changes that have happened between the video being created and today will be highlighted to you as well. Entry to site. All visitors need to sign the COVID-19 declaration form at the gatehouse before entry to site, and you'll probably have to do this once. All visitors will have their temperature taken before entry to site, and day visitors need to sign in at the gatehouse and will receive a visitor pass, the site rules, and a car parking pass. Now it may be that you're not able to park in the car park that's on site because it's a small car park and we're expecting it to get full quite quickly, but the information of where to park will be given at that time. Contractors will need to sign in at the CDM area and sign out when leaving. This may mean that you have to do this a number of times during the day, so signing in and signing out. COVID-19 control measures. All COVID-19 control measures must be adhered to whilst on site. Face coverings must be worn whenever in shared areas on the site. You must go through the thermal screening cabin before entry to site, and if the screen flashes red, then you must follow the instructions that are placed on the wall adjacent to where you walk in. No more than 4 people in an office compartment at any one time, and we need to be sensible on this. If it's a smaller office, then we have to have less people in that office. Always maintain 2 metre social distancing and wash your hands regularly. There is 1 person per table in the canteen / welfare area. Use hand sanitizer frequently. This is available at the entrance to the production area, the entrance to the site, and dotted in various areas around the site. Adhere to any one-way systems that are in place. These tend to be in corridors or smaller areas. And do not hang around in corridors. Avoid sharing tools and equipment. If unavoidable, clean down the tools before you use them. And avoid sharing pens. COVID-19 face coverings. It's important that we wear face coverings when we're in shared areas, and it's more important that we wear them correctly. So do not use if the face covering is damaged or damp. Do not wear it around your chin or under the nose. It's important that we cover the nose and the mouth adequately at all times. Do not wear loose-fitting masks. Try not to touch the front of the mask, but I know that this is difficult because some of the masks, they just move when you talk, but keep that to a minimum. And do not share your mask. And then at the end of the day, when we've finished with the mask, we need to put it in a bin. Make sure that you do put it in a bin. And the best way to do that is to fold it in half and then fold it in half again and put it in the bin, and it's less likely to blow out of the bin then and cause somebody else a problem. We understand that in making you wear masks, there's always a potential if you wear corrective spectacles, or as on site here, we'll all have to wear safety glasses. We know that there's always a possibility that you could get fogged up lenses, and there are 3 methods, the top one of which I find most useful, but these three methods here are available in a video to show you how to use them. Just go onto the BBC website and look for glasses fogging. But the top method is the tuck method, where you make sure that your glasses are on top of the face covering and that the face covering wire is manipulated so it's tight around your nose and the top of your cheeks. and there's a gap between your glasses and your eye, so it makes sure that the air isn't getting too hot there. That works particularly well for me. The tissue method, where you roll up a tissue and you sellotape it to the top of your mask, or the soap method, where you wash your glasses, including the lenses on the glass, in soap and just rinse that off and then dry with a soft tissue or cloth, and that method may also work for you. Induction check sheet. As part of this induction process, you'll need to fill in an induction check sheet. You will be asked to fill in who you are, your next of kin or emergency contact, and the only reason we need this is in case you have an emergency yourself and we need to contact somebody quite quickly. We need to have that contact number. Who you work for, so which company you work for, what work you'll be carrying out, whereabouts on site you're going to be working, so the location of site, and roughly how long you're going to be working here. This will allow the ARDAR group to initially assess the risk and act accordingly. You'll then be asked to read, understand, and agree to abide by your company's risk assessment and method statement. You will be asked to declare if you're using certain machinery or equipment and then prove your competence, normally by a license or a certificate. Then you'll be asked to sign the induction form to make sure that you have fully understood the induction and you have read and understood the COVID-19 control measures. If the answer to any of the above is no, action is required to resolve this before you start work. All persons must understand the induction and the COVID-19 control measures before entering site. Do not start work unless you have read, understood and agreed to abide by your company's risk assessment and method statements, and then we'll ask you to actually sign on the hard copy of the risk assessment and method statement. Do not use plant, equipment, machinery or tools unless you are competent and you have supplied current competency certificates or licenses for forklift trucks, mobile elevated work platforms, mobile scaffolding, etc. Personal protective equipment. It is your employer's responsibility to supply you with the correct PPE, and that includes face coverings. It is your responsibility to wear them correctly. Mandatory on site are face coverings in shared areas, hearing protection, standard hearing protection only, no musical devices, hard hats, not bump caps, safety footwear, steel toe capped, sole and anti-slip, safety glasses or over glasses if you wear corrective spectacles, high-vis vest or waistcoat or jacket. If you have a wedding band, a plain wedding band, then you must cover it with blue tape, which is available at the entrances to the production area. There's no jewellery, no watches, etc. Gloves only need to be worn if it's appropriate to your task or activity and is highlighted within your risk assessment and method statement, and any other PPE required for the activity to keep you safe. Contamination prevention. This site is classified as a food factory. Beverage cans are being produced. You need to protect the integrity of the product at all times. Do not wear anything which may cause contamination in the production area. No jewellery, chains, rings or piercings. No watches. No music headphones. Keep insect screens on the exterior doors closed. Wash your hands after using the toilet and before entering the production area. Always replace conveyor covers. Airborne dust contaminates cans, so this must be adequately controlled. When working above the production area, Be aware of the risk of contamination, so things could fall down from your work area. If lines are running near the work area, they should be covered and screened off. Empty pallets, cans and layer cards should not be used for any other purpose. Conduct on site, BBS. BBS is a system to encourage safe working for all. Individuals carry out observations on each other, including contractors. Results are recorded for monitoring purposes. Anyone can be observed, and the person being observed is not named. Cards are available at the entrance to the production area, and your complete cards can be given to your supervisor or dropped in the box near the CDM or production office. Mobile phones. The use of mobile phones is not permitted whilst you're working or whilst in the production area, except for authorised personnel, and they need to be authorised in writing. This includes checking the time. The use of mobiles for personal calls should only be made during rest breaks. Conduct on site. Remember, you have a duty to yourself and your colleagues to remain safe working environment at all times. It is your responsibility to ensure that you are working safely. If you do not, then you will be stopped. Do not indulge in horseplay. All operatives must work in accordance with our site induction, which details the control measures to be adopted in order to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. All operators working on site must have read and signed the induction paperwork and agree that they have understood all control measures. Certain RDAR policies are applicable to everyone on site, such as bullying and harassment policy, drink and drugs at work policy. Hazards within the site. Now this is a list of hazards, the obvious ones, but there will probably be more, and you may be bringing some hazards on site with you. But this is the list to get you started. So we have noise, flammable liquids, cutting fluids, chemicals, forklift trucks, HGV movements, high-speed equipment which starts automatically. There can be confined spaces, working at height and or roof work, wet slippery floors, plus more. You need to be observant. HitNot device. Now this is a device that helps to keep us safe when we're in the warehouse area. So the wearing of a PAD, personal alarm device, and a high-vis vest in the warehouse is mandatory. You have to do it. HitNot is a proximity detection system, and this technology which uses magnetic fields to detect people and traffic danger. So you take a pad from the charger and place it in a pouch and hang it around your neck. Don't put it in your pocket because you need to see the light and you need to be able to hear the alarm. When you leave the warehouse, return the pad to the charging area and plug it back in. Chargers are located next to the baler and to the finished pallet area. I'll show you this on a drawing, not on the next slide, but on the slide after that. So when a pedestrian enters the forklift warning zone, as you can see on the picture above in yellow, both his pad and the forklift alarm will give 3 bleeps, and the light to warn of the threat. You need to be able to see it. When the pedestrian enters the danger zone, so he comes closer to the forklift, the pad and the alarm will sound and the light continuous until the threat is over and the pedestrian is out of danger. You need to bear in mind that this is not foolproof and it's not the only thing that you need to keep you safe. So this is just one of the things to keep you safe and must be worn in the areas shown on the next slide. So the areas to the left here in the red shading is the hit knot areas, and the yellow circles show where you can pick up and drop off the hit knot devices. Forklift trucks. Be aware of forklift truck presence around the site. Contractors are not permitted to use Arda's forklift trucks unless given prior written warning. Assume forklift trucks always have the right of way, whatever the circumstances, and do not position yourself within 2 meters of a forklift truck. Keep to the designated walkways. Forklift trucks should sound their horn to notify of approach. And please be aware of your surroundings. Operating plant and equipment. Only trained and competent persons with a current certificate submitted and checked by Arda CDM project team to operate plant and equipment. Plant and equipment must be checked in accordance with legislation daily, weekly and monthly. These checks must be recorded. Plant and equipment must have all statutory thorough examinations and inspection certificates checked by Arda CDM project team. Plant must have details of who controls it, a contact name and a contact number displayed on it. This is so that we can contact somebody quickly if there is a problem with the machine or if it's blocking an entrance or an exit. Keys are not to be left in unattended plant or equipment to prevent unauthorised use. And vehicles must be parked safely, and charging cables must not cause a trip hazard. Chemicals and hazardous substances. Before you bring any chemicals, substances or mixtures onto site, you must supply a COSH risk assessment and a material safety data sheet for each. The material safety data sheet must be available for review at the point of storage, transport and use. Quantities should be kept to the minimum quantity for use, and chemicals must be stored, transported and used in accordance with the manufacturer's material safety data sheet, and only used by competent persons. Dust and fumes. Welding fumes control measures must be built into your company's risk assessment and method statement. Control measures must be used to protect all persons from welding fumes. Control measures such as ventilation or personal protective equipment must be suitable and sufficient. Equipment must be maintained in good working order. Silica dust. Well, you can see from the 2 photographs at the top here that we have the left-hand one where there's cutting of concrete and there's no dust because it's being damped down, and then the one on the right is totally unacceptable because there's no control measures here at all. So silica dust. Silica dust is created by cutting, drilling, planing, grinding, etc. of products such as brick, block and concrete, etc. Control measures must be used to protect all persons from silica dust. Control measures such as extraction, damping, or personal protective equipment must be suitable and sufficient. Equipment must be maintained in good working order at all times. Electrical work. Electrical work can only be carried out by competent and qualified persons. High voltage work can only be carried out by an appointed person. Follow the Electricity at Work Act and regulations. All portable and transportable electrical equipment must be PAT tested. For construction sites such as this one, it needs to be carried out every 3 months. All portable tools must be 110 volts. Working dead is preferred. If working live is to be carried out, a safe system of work for live working must be approved. Overhead working and working at height. Overhead working. Make sure that the falling object zone is cordoned off below the works. Make sure there's a person below to ensure no entry and maintain a sterile area. Signage to explain the reason for cordoning off is to be installed. If an area is fenced or guarded off, do not enter. Falling objects can cause serious injury and in some cases death. Overhead working and working at height. Working at height. Falls of height are the biggest cause of fatality. All working at height to have a risk assessment and method statement approved before work can start. All working at height to have a permit to work, PTW, issued. All persons working at height must be trained and competent to carry out the activity safely. All working at height equipment must be inspected before each use. And all working at height equipment must have a current thorough examination certificate in date. Use of the hierarchy of control for working at height should be used. That's avoid working at height if possible. If you can't, prevent a fall. If you can't, then mitigate the circumstances of a fall. No person should be put in a position where a fall from height could occur. Waste and environmental controls. Do not empty any substances into the drain before first consulting with a relevant member of staff or project manager. Pay attention to signs on waste skips for correct segregation. Do not mix waste. Inform shift manager immediately in the case of a major spill. And any land contamination should be reported to the local environmental authority by the EH&S team leader or manager. At the moment we don't know where the skips are going to be located, but it's likely that they'll be located on the drawing here in the yard, which is number 31, or it could be number 24. As soon as this information becomes available, we'll of course let you know. Fire prevention. Smoking is strictly prohibited on site and in vehicles. This includes e-cigarettes and vaping. There is one designated smoke shelter on site. This will be located outside the contractor's cabins once we get the cabins installed, but at the moment it's outside the canteen. If the shelter is full, please wait your turn. Remember social distancing. Anyone caught outside this area and smoking will be subject to the appropriate action being taken. Hot work requires an appropriate permit. Fire prevention. Hot works. In principle, hot works are not allowed anywhere on site, including outside, except for the welding bay. Before any hot work can be considered, an alternative method assessment form must be filled in and signed by an authorised plant representative and the plant manager. If the plant manager isn't available, it may be the engineering manager or the health and safety manager. If there is no other method possible, a hot work risk assessment must be completed by the project engineer, and a permit to work must be then completed, and this must be signed by the plant manager. When work is complete, the area must be watched, so a fire watch for at least 1 hour. The permit can then be signed off and returned to the site representative. Fire evacuation. If you discover a fire, do not take risks and do not put yourself in danger. Do not attack the fire unless you're trained and it's safe to do so. Raise the alarm by operating the nearest alarm call point, and they look like the picture on the right above. Leave the building by the nearest safe route and close all doors behind you. Report to the fire assembly point, which is located in the upper car park and it's near to the gatehouse. You'll see a sign that says Contractors Assembly Point. Stay there until instructed to do otherwise by the emergency response team or a manager. Please familiarise yourself with all exits and the alarm control call points in your work area. Emergency response. There is a fire alarm test every Tuesday at 11 o'clock and there will be no need for evacuation. The start and finish of the test will be announced. Know where the exits are located and exits have got signage. Continuous tone equals evacuate. Do not collect belongings. Report to the contractor's assembly point in the car park. If it's a false alarm, then a member of the management or ERT will say when it is safe to go back into the building. Accidents, first aid and near misses. Report all accidents and near misses to a coordinator, team leader or shift manager. All accidents must be reported in the accident book. If you see a hazard or have a near miss, let us know so we can take action to prevent it from happening again. The near miss hazard book is located in the production office. If you have an accident or feel unwell, ask to see a first aider. Then there's a list of first aiders in the corridor by the canteen. If you have or develop physical or medical conditions which could affect your personal safety on site or the safety of other persons, you must report such a condition to the ARDA site project manager so that a risk assessment can be made to reflect these conditions. This information will of course be kept strictly confidential. Housekeeping. Housekeeping is the foundation of safety and it is an important factor for improving safety. Clear work areas of redundant items, for example rags, parts, containers, etc. And pallets. Leave area in the same condition as you'd find it, or better. And 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the day must be used to clear your area of any rubbish or items that could cause an accident or fire. Red card system. Behavioural procedure for the project. Contractors, individuals or companies who clearly ignore the site's safety rules described in the site's CDM safety induction, construction phase plan, work permit or approved method statement risk assessment will be managed using the site non-compliance and disciplinary procedure. The project will operate a two-tier disciplinary procedure on site, namely yellow and red card system. The construction phase plan will detail safety breaches which fall under yellow and red card headings. A yellow card will be issued to crews or individuals who breach any of the yellow card non-compliances. This will require the crew or the individual to stand down for 1 hour to allow the breach to be rectified. Such remedial action may include reassessment of the task, housekeeping exercise, reinduction or retraining. Where an individual or crew breaches one of the listed red card items, they will be dismissed from site for a minimum of 2 days. A decision will be made between the principal contractor and the client whether this person or persons will be allowed back to site. Lockout tagout. Before any maintenance or engineering work is carried out on any machine, it must be isolated from all energy sources. It's not enough just to switch off the machine. The energy sources and residual energy must be made safe. It must never be assumed that an electrical circuit is dead until proved to be so. Residual energy must be removed from the machine or process and made safe before work can start. All isolations must be secure to prevent inadvertent re-energizing. Each person must have their own lock on the isolator. Permit to work, PTW. Permits to work are required for the following activities and tasks. General permit to work, weekly. Hot works, daily. Confined space, daily. Working at height. Electrical works. Roof access, which is daily. And access to the wastewater compartment. These are issued by the ARDAR project engineers that are in charge of you, and once complete must be signed off and cancelled. This picture here just shows you the general layout of the main corridor on the ground floor. You can see that there is the canteen on the left, the male toilets on the right, and if you go to the bottom of this corridor and turn right, it'll take you into the next part of the access to the production area. Contractors are not allowed to enter the canteen unless they are the supervisor or nominated person collecting food for takeaway. When you turn that corner to the right, you'll see the left-hand picture, and you can see that there is a hygiene station here. This is where you can wash your hands before entering the production area. And then if you turn left, you'll see what's on the right-hand picture. So you'll see there's an access to the production office where the hazard and near miss book is kept, and you can see the production area main door. All relevant PPE must be worn past this point. Welfare facilities. Welfare facilities available to you and where they are. So the toilets, once we have the porta cabins fitted, will be within the contractor's welfare facility at the porta cabins. For the moment, it's okay to use the ARDAR toilets and washing facilities, but as soon as we have the CDM washing facilities, we will be banned from using those and we'll use our own. Washing facilities are in the same place. Hand sanitizer will be at key points throughout the site. Food and eating facilities will only be within the contractor's welfare facility. Drying and changing facilities will be within the contractor's welfare facility in the porta cabins, and first aid will be within the ARDAR site. Canteen facilities. Contractors are not allowed to enter the canteen unless they are the supervisor or nominated person to collect and pay for the food. Food and drink is available to you, but because of the restrictions, you'll need to place your order through your nominated person. There will be one nominated person for each contracting company. The aim is to reduce the number of persons entering the canteen to an absolute minimum. Your order and payment will be taken to the canteen, and arrangements for collection by the nominated person only will be made. You can consume your meal within the canteen facilities in the contractor's welfare porta cabins. Do not crowd this area. Ensure social distancing at all times, and it may be that we have to have different sessions for eating throughout the day. So the induction presentation is complete. So any additions or changes to this induction will be presented to you by the person completing this process. If you have any questions regarding the induction, please raise these with the person completing this induction. This person will be the next person to meet you during this induction process. Thank you for your attention.